Hello, everyone. I'd like you to first thank you for your interest in my panel, and I also thank the Music and Gaming Festival for inviting me to speak to you here. My name is Joseph. Of course, I'm here because I love video game music. I hope you do too. I wanted to talk a little bit about this title here. I tried to go for a very long title, kind of make it clickbaity a little bit. Okay, so let's try to read this one beneath. Let's read together. Okay, are you ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's read. Okay. Jena, Rebellion, and Salvation. A case study of just how many different ways can you groove with one song. A study in how game composers use compound meter to create multidimensional hype. Oh my god, that's so long. It's okay if you don't recognize some of the terms that you see in the title. We'll go through it together. Thank you for coming. Hello, welcome.
It's not a real thesis or defense if it doesn't have 20 words.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, so to make it look organized, I've put an outline of what we're going to talk about in my presentation. Many of these will be more subjective and to your interpretation than mine, but I can suggest a few things that we can collectively share. So I've chosen the Astral Chain as my topic because this music is relatively easy to communicate, especially this phenomenon which composers use when they are engaging in compound rhythm. For today, let's talk a little bit about the background of Astral Chain and the context of the piece, Jena, Rebellion, and Salvation. We will need to learn a couple of musical terminology, so let's talk about the way how rhythm is interpreted from the musician's point of view, and then let's look into the piece itself to find together multiple grooves by analyzing how Igarashi kind of uses different instrument groups and such. Of course, for trained musicians, meaning those of us who studied music in post-secondary studies, this talk is probably more elementary because we will observe kind of syncopation and how it works in compound meter. I'm sure most of us who are knowledgeable in music instantly understand what I'm speaking of. So, shall we begin? Okay, so before we begin, everyone put your hands up. Let's do this. Okay, we're playing Mario Party. Ready? We will thrust your hand into the air in 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Okay. So I did this Mario Party intro thing last year when I presented here, and it worked well, so I brought it back. And so, since we've now started, we need to talk about the game itself. There might be some spoilers, so beware. How many of you actually played this game before? Yeah, okay. How many of you will play this game? Probably not. Yes, maybe not. So spoilers are okay for all of you? Okay, perfect. All right. Astral Chain is kind of an action-adventure hack-and-slash game developed by Platinum Games in 2019. And this game takes place in a fictional cyberpunk world called the Ark. And here you are an officer of a police force called Neuron. And in this game, humans are kind of on the brink of extinction. Everything has to be extreme because it's a video game, right? Because of an interdimensional creature known as chimeras. So they've confined themselves to this megacity called the Ark. I've mentioned that there's a police force called the Neurons. Interesting thing about them is that each officers have battle companions, which are called legions. You can kind of also see an example on the right here. They are beings that are kind of summoned from the astral plane dimensions. They come in with all shapes of forms, including animals, robots, humans, and etc. And the police force kind of exists to defeat what the chimeras, these creatures, are from the astral plane dimension and perceived as a threat to the megacity Ark. So, in the midst of the battle between neurons, their legions, and chimeras, another kind of plot kind of emerges, which are centralized on two characters, and these are characters called Joseph Calvert and Jena Anderson. We know that through the plot, Joseph wants to change the human race because he thinks there's no alternate option to save humanity, so he chooses to accelerate humanity's evolution to chimeras by converging astral plane with Earth. But of course, there's a twist with evil scientist. He has another plan to create the most powerful legion and to fuse himself with it, therefore kind of wanting to become the new human chimera race's ruler. And of course, fighting against Joseph, there's Jena. Jena Anderson is actually shown as an antagonist against Joseph and our bad guy slash gal, but is actually not when you kind of think about it. Jena was in the research team with Joseph to come up with what they call a redshift serum, which undoes the effect of redshift. And Joseph knew that the serum countered, hello, sorry, his plan, and so betrayed Jena by locking her inside the astral plane for 20 years. How can Joseph do this? What a horrible person. But Jena had already developed the serum, and she consumes the serum for 20 years inside the astral plane. I'm hoping that this serum tasted good, so that it's pleasant for a drink for 20 years, not taste like Tylenol. But anyways, or maybe it might not. So the player does end up confronting Jena from the side of Joseph as his neuron task force, and Jena is one of the more significant bosses in the game, and so they come out around midway through. Like many JRPGs, there are multiple stages of Jena, right, Anderson, that the player has to fight against. And so the first one is her regular form or aberrant form that you see on the left top. The second one is asymptote, or the form that we see on the upper right image. And finally, we have the apotheosis form, of course, which I'm not sure why all bosses get bigger and bigger when they change form and when you fight them for the second and the third time. Actually, funny story, sorry to run on a tangent. I was just at the Smithsonian Museum yesterday looking at fossils, and I've realized that the bigger the animals or the dinosaurs were, the earlier they were getting extinct. So I was like, Anyways, but in terms of music that is played here, the first form of Jena uses kind of heavy metal as most of their material. In the asymptote form, which we will look at, extensively fuses kind of orchestral and synthesized electronic music, and it's quite quick-paced and epic. The third form, which is apotheosis, also uses orchestral and electronic music, but the tempo is a little bit more firm in character. In more detail, the orchestra functions in Rebellion and Salvation to set the frame and the atmosphere of the piece, combined with electronic synthesizers to help excite the music by highlighting the melody and driving the pulse. Okay, so I made a video. This video is a combination of what you would see in the gameplay footage when the piece plays. And at the bottom, I've added a little bit of analysis and annotation to explain a little bit more of what is happening. Try to see if you can understand and or notice the analysis with musical elements on how many of you would not be familiar with it. So let's take a listen to it. Let me know how the sound level is. How's the sound? It's good? Is it strong enough? Let me know if it gets too strong, because it gets quite heightened quite fast. Okay, here it comes. Oh, I really love the combo. Sorry, I'm a drummer, so I got really excited. Okay, here comes the mic drop and a little change of style here. All right, and then yeah, so there's a loop that goes back to the soprano solo. Okay, so how many of you actually understood and followed most that what I've displayed here? Okay, that's good. And who are more like, what the hell, emotional damage? Who was kind of more like that? No one. Okay, everyone kind of sort of followed followed everything. Okay, that's good. Oh, okay, great. So I had a minute prepared. I was like, sorry for causing some emotional damage, but I guess I don't have to say that because I have caused none of you emotional damage. So let's do a little review of how we read rhythm, of course. For those of you who are knowledgeable, thank you for your patience. We'd like to divide, of course, all beats into groups of 2 or 3. And in duple meter, everything is divided into 2. Here we see this whole note, which is divided into half notes, 2 half notes, for being divided into 2 halves with a little stem. And again, that half note is divided into 2 quarter notes, which have colored circles, right? Quarter meaning 1/4 of this whole note. And even if we place 1 half note in the whole note spot, the quarter note and the successing eighth notes remains in the same division of 2. A quarter note is further divided, of course, into eighth notes. But what if we want to put something a little more irregular? What if we want to bind everything in groups of 3? What do you think? So this could practically be solved by putting a dot beside our note. Simple, right? To symbolize that a note have an additional half of its original value. So this half note, which equaled 2 quarter notes, now equals 3 quarter notes because you add an extra half of the half note, which is a quarter note. Okay, too many restating quarter notes. And so once the dotted note is divided into 3, then the rest follow the rule of 2 that we've already discussed. Since there are 2 eighth notes per quarter note, we can now fit 6 eighth notes in 1 dotted half note. Here is another way to divide that dotted half note. We could, of course, also divide the dotted half note in 2 instead of 3. Any of you might guess how that might be possible? Yes, right. You use the quarter note. If you dot the quarter note, it becomes a dotted quarter. And so a dotted quarter becomes 1.5 quarter notes, which means simple fractions, right? 1.5 times 2 equals 3. For myself, who's a musician, I can only count to 4, so this is manageable. Okay, but the line before dotted quarter note, I've put down 3 quarter notes, and this is exactly the phenomenon that we are going to observe here, in that composers like to use a mix of divisions of 3 and divisions of 2 by precisely employing dotted notes as well as regular notes, and this happens at the same time. Okay, so let's actually clap this together. First, let's all clap a dotted half note 4 times, and let's clap the 3 quarter notes 4 times, and then we're going to go back to dotted half note 4 times, and we will then clap dotted quarter notes 4 times. Anyone did not understand this quest? No? Oh, yes. Oh, yes, it's okay. We will all help you. We will all help you. Okay, ready? All right, let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we're gonna go to the next line. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna go back to the dotted half note. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then we're gonna go to dotted quarter. Divide this into 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, great. So next quest. You've completed this quest. Let's now try to play both by playing our hands on our knees. This is an additional challenge. So we're going to do 4 dotted half notes with both hand, and then quarter notes with our left hand. And then we're going to switch hands, which means our dotted quarter note will be on our left hand, but our right hand will play. Sorry, our dotted half notes will be on the left hand, but our right hand will play dotted quarter notes. So if any of you don't know what right hand is, it's your other left hand. Okay, it's okay, so everyone understood this quest? Okay, so let's do it, ready? I'm gonna do this on the table. Oh my gosh, okay. Hope this table doesn't crumple. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. Everyone has it? Now let's get our left hand to play the quarter notes. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, here we go. And then we're gonna change it so that our left hand is dotted half note and our right hand is dotted quarter. Ready? 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, here's the ultimate challenge. Now we're gonna do our left hand to do the same quarter notes, and then we're gonna create this interesting groove. Ready? 2 and 1, 2 and 3, 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 1, 2 and 3. Okay, great. Yeah, give yourselves a round of applause. Woo. Okay. So of course, there's a super difficult terminology to represent what this is. And so this super difficult word is actually called 3/2 or 2/3. So difficult, right? No, it's not difficult at all. No kidding. We call this polyrhythm. And this is an insanely good party trick, regardless if you're in birthday parties or if you're hanging out with friends and just be like, hey, guess what? I could do this. So what this means is that I want to reiterate that most beats are divided into 2, but when you add a dot beside any note, then it adds another half of that note's duration, right? And so the dotted quarter note is now divided into 3/8 notes and dotted half note divided into 3/4 notes. The concept between 2 and 3 becomes very important because this is what makes the track Jena Rebellion and Salvation kind of super interesting. The sad reality is that the beats alone won't be able to help us groove. We need another set of tools to help us make us feel this music, and this device is called meter. So the time of Jena Rebellion in Salvation, I consider it to be divided into 12 eighth notes. And as you know, these 12 beats can further be divided evenly, which then creates the idea of strong beats and weak beats. And we call these strong beats pulses, and so to this pulse is what really adds groove to the music that we hear. So let's explore a little bit more about it. Here are all the combinations of divisions that is used in this piece. That's a lot, right? As you can see at the top here, there are 12 eighth notes. You see the line later that there are 6 groups of 2, followed by 4 groups of 3, and finally 3 groups of 4 eighth notes. So why don't we try clapping this together? Let's read through it from the top to bottom, and if we arrive at the bottom, let's go back to the top once more. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna do this again. Try to put a little emphasis on the accents. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Accent the first one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Okay. Yes. Okay. So now we're going to use our hands on our legs and try to do the middle two at the same time. That we've just kind of just like we played the two over three. So let's start with even 12 notes and let's get to the grouping. Your left hand will do the second line and your other left hand will do the third line. Okay, ready? So let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 3, 2. Okay, and then let's get our left hand to do the second line. Ready? And go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. 1 and 2. Okay, and then we're gonna get our right hand to do the 3. This is gonna be tricky. I've tried this yesterday and it was so hard. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now, why do I want us to do this exercise and to take time and do this? Of course, the answer lies in the next clapping exercise we're going to do. We're going to take out all of the weak beats, and so we'll only play the strong beats, which is the first beat on each groupings. So do you want to try that? Let's try that. So we're going to play all 12 eighth notes. And then we're going to play 6, but we're going to take out all the second note. And then we're going to play on our right hand the groupings of 3, but we're going to take out the second and the third note. Okay, so let's do this. Ready? I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's all do it together. 3, 2, 3, and then let's do left hand. Ready? 2. 2. And then right hand, 1, 2, 3, 1. Whoa. Okay, this was hard. Okay, sorry, once more. Ready? 7, 8, no, 10. Yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3. I don't do this often. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 6 on the left hand. Ready? And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. And then with our right hand, 4, 5. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what is this that we just played? This pattern we played earlier, right? Yeah, this pattern is 2 over 3, right? 3 over 4. And so this is exactly kind of what is happening in this piece, right? There are pulses of 4 and there are pulses of 6 that interact with pulses of 4, which creates 2 different types of pulses, and when they combine, the pulses become more unpredictable, and that's why it becomes very exciting. Okay, so we have mastered the basics of musical rhythm. Let's go analyze the music itself of this piece. So here's a video that we looked at the beginning of the presentation, but I've cut parts so that we can hear it, analyze it together, and hear it again. So this is just the introduction of the piece. Let's analyze what is happening to the music as it happens. Okay, so here's the music I've transcribed. Can everyone see this? Yeah, more or less. Is it too bright? It might be too bright, yeah. This might kind of overwhelm you, but don't worry, let's take it slowly. Here we see a group of strings and brass that are playing this rhythm. This rhythm is da 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 da, right? You kind of hear it at the beginning. The strings go da 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 da. Which group of pulses do you think this belongs more? Does it fit better with 2 eighth note pulses or 3 eighth note pulses? Let's think about it. So I'm going to try to clap and hum the rhythm. So let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 2. Dun 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 dun. And then here's a group of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Dun 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 dun. Which one do you think it fits more? Does it fit more better with 3? Yes. Who's in the 3? If it's better in 3, who thinks if it's better in 2? Come on, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Yes. Okay. For me personally, I think this one would fit better in groups of 2. Although in groups of 3, it would drive better, right? It would have this kind of groovy kind of dance, right? Da 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 da. Which is interesting. At the same time, at the back of the orchestra, the percussion kind of emphasizes this rhythm that we just saw. But what is more interesting is the chorus that you see above. You see, okay, so when I say percussion, I mean the bass drum line and the snare drum line and the toms. But the chorus above, which is soprano 1, 2, and alto, you see that this chorus has a series of dotted half notes and dotted quarter notes. And we said earlier that dotted quarter notes equal 3 eighth notes, right? And similarly, dotted half notes have 3 quarter notes, which would mean that it equals 6 eighth notes. Then this section for the chorus, would it work better for groupings of 3 instead of 2? What do you think? Everyone's like, I don't want to do math this early in the morning. Right? For me, I think this probably would work better in 3, right? Instead of 2, right? Perfect. I see some nodding. Yes. Of course, now we have the ultimate challenge of trying to do both at the same time. Okay, we're gonna play this on using our hands on our legs. Okay, ready? Are you ready for this? Okay. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 1, and okay. So we're just gonna try with the basics. 5 and 6 and 2 and 3. Okay, now we're gonna, with our left hand, with our right hand, since our right hand is our dominant hand, let's play the violins and the strings. Ready? And go. 1, 2, 3, and dun 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 dun. Okay. And now we're going to play our bottom rhythms with our left hand. This is going to be hard. Okay, but let's try. Ready? 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. 1, and 2, and I can't even speak. Da 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 da. Okay, sorry. So this is what happens at the just at the beginning when the piece starts right away. The second part of the introduction is this series of rhythm here. So let me hum it for you. Dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 da. You recognize that sound, right? For this one, let's, of course, sorry. Let's sing together, both emphasizing the groups of 3, like how it was written in the score, then emphasize the groupings of 2. So let's sing this one together. Ready? We're gonna sing this one in groupings of 3, like we see on the score here. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 da. Oh gosh, I'm not a great singer. And then now let's emphasize the 2 after that. Ready? Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and dun da 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 da. Okay. So I want to ask you a question here. Which groupings do you think it would work better, personally for you? Would it better working in 2, or would it better to be working in 3? How many of you are in the 2 camp? It works better in 2 camp, okay? And how many of you are like, it works better in 3 camp? Yes, yeah, the 3 camp. Personally, I think it would work for both, right? It would work for both 3 and 2, because when we group it into 3, as I said earlier, it has a natural bounce to it. But then when it becomes 2, it becomes so much more vicious, right? Becomes kind of like more like heavy, yeah, that type of stuff. Okay, so let's go to level 2. For some of you who are more knowledgeable in game soundtracks, you probably have realized that this rhythm and actually notes are very similar to another famous game soundtrack. Does it remind you of another soundtrack? Can anyone guess which one that might be from? Can I give you a hint? It comes out from a fantasy tactical role-playing RPG game. Okay, here's the development company. You're gonna know it instantly. Developed by Intelligent Systems and released in Nintendo. Everyone's like, no one knows, no. Oh no, okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, and the soundtrack is, oh, please come forward. Hello. It's this one. Anyone recognize this one? Yes, okay, everyone recognizes this one, right? What is this one called? Fire Emblem Shadows of Valentia. Okay, that's the title of the game, but what is but what is this actual piece called? This piece is called Twilight of the Gods, right? And it's the final boss theme of this game. Yes, and this piece, if you listen to the strings, it has a similar line that we've just discussed. Yeah, so you hear the strings dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 da, and then what did we just hum? We sing dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 da, which is like exactly the same thing except for one note. The similarity is also really striking because Twilight of the Gods is also similar type of meter, right? Meter meaning groove of time signatures as the piece that we're talking today, Jena Rebellion and Salvation. So since we now know the intricacies of the introduction, let's hear it again so that we can kind of review what we've talked about. Yeah, you hear their strings, right? Okay, super cool. Right? So next part. We're gonna jump to the next part. This section is just after the first bit of the verse when it kind of repeats again. Remember when I marked epic strings in the very first video? And this part kind of gets very interesting. Let's rhythmically, so let's hear it. So here, I have the two upper lines of the strings, right? They're playing melody in octaves, da 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 da, right? Here, it's a little more obvious that the first two lines should be subdivided in two, right? Because it's all in two. Da 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2, right? But what's interesting is, let's take a look into the last two lines of the string. And they actually have an interesting pattern here. They have two dotted quarter notes and three quarter notes after that, which means that there are two distinct parts where there's a division of two, divisions of three? Yeah, divisions of three followed by divisions of two, which kind of becomes 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2. And this is in contrary to the melody line that we see. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1, right? Yes, and so the bass line kind of emphasizes both divisions of 2 and 3, while the upper notes emphasize the beats grouped in 2. So do you want to try to clap this one too? Do you want to try this one? Yes, no, maybe so? Okay, yeah, sure. Everyone's like, sure. Okay, so let's do this. Ready? We're gonna count to 6. We're gonna tap 6, and then with our left hand, we'll try to play the violin lines, and then with our right hand, we'll try to play the bass lines. Okay, at the same time. Ready? We're gonna go skip right away. Ready? 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3. Ready? 1 2 3 5 4 5. Play now. 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1. Okay, great. And so when you also see the percussion kind of also emphasizes this bass line, right? And those little marks on top indicate accents. And so they also play as 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1. It's exactly the same rhythm that we just played in the bass line. Oh, hello. Oh, okay. And in contrary to the percussion and the bass line, the choir sings in groups of 2 the entire way through, like the melody line, right? 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. And so while the bass line plays 2 pulses followed by 3, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2, the singers go 1 2 3 1 2 3. And so we have kind of like a conflict of pulse in this part because we have a 2 over 3. And they eventually kind of reconcile in the second part, where they go 1 2 3 1 2 3. And so that's why this section is so interesting, because you don't necessarily realize that there is a conflict of pulses. Of course, we call this syncopation in musical term until we start to analyze the piece by instrument groups. Should we listen to this one again? I think we will appreciate a little more since we learned about it. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2. And then you have the strings. Da, 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 da. 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 bum 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 bum. Yeah, and this rhythm and bass and drum kind of happens quite consistently, right? Dunce, dunce, dun, 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 dunce, dunce, and continuously throughout multiple segments. Oh my gosh, I could see I'm already losing a couple of you. I'm like, mornings. So in the next sections, we're gonna see we have a change in style, and there is a release where the beautiful sounds of the solo violin and the singer kind of exchanges counter melodies, and right after that, you hear this epic brass that comes in. And in this moment too, that rhythm kind of comes back and really kind of hypes things up a little bit. Let's listen to it. So you can hear right here, the drums are beating. Tack, 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 tack. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 2 3. Mic drop. And here comes the build up. Ready? 1 2 3 4 5 6. Gotta love epic choir in video game soundtracks. There cannot be any video game soundtracks without epic choir in boss games. Okay, right? And there are additional layers to this section which kind of makes it even more epic. So this section has another set of notes that is divided into groups of 2. While the French horns play bum, ba, 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 bum, that the solo violin that just played, the lower brass and strings, including the trombones and the cellos, they play kind of like this upward figure that goes like dun 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 dun. And then the rhythm that they play kind of reminds us of the very beginning, right? When the strings went dun 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 dun, right? And the low brass here kind of brings back that string line in the verse. So let's take a listen to this once more. See, it comes back here too. Dun, 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 dun. That's a rhythm. All right, and so the last part that we will listen to, of course, is this climactic moment when it goes back to the beginning. In this little climactic moment, the piece kind of opens up in terms of textures, and we hear this huge wall of sound with the chorus and the French horns fully blasting, da, 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 da. And then when the piece kind of builds up once more. So let's listen to it before we analyze this section. And then here's the big wall of sound, right? not much instruments are playing rhythmically here. Everyone's just prolonging notes, blasting full blast. This figure comes back, right? Dun, da, da, da. The choir comes back. Bop, 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 bop. Oh, we gotta love those mic drop. Okay. To analyze this section, at first we need to understand that the melody itself is quite open. There's not many notes, right? The melody, as I emphasized, is played by the French horns, like da 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 da. And then this counter melody is a series of half notes or whole notes, which goes more like da 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 da. And so it's this very open soaring type of line. And so the melody doesn't really have any rhythmic interest in itself. It's really what's below that's more interesting. So first we have the strings that they're not just hiding, right? At the moment, all strings are playing with structure, with multiple octaves, and like this kind of huge wall of sound. This is the sound we've heard, right? Da 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 da. At the same time the strings play in octaves, the drums come back with their 2 to 3 beat pattern, which goes tuck 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 tuck. And you can see it a little bit more clearly in the bass drum, right? In the other drums, it's kind of hard to see, but in the bass drum, you can clearly see that mark, boom, 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 boom. In contrast, you also have the singers that also sing a very decisive 6-beat figure, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And this all adds together to build up kind of to the end through the chorus and the solo that swells from one note, na, and then becomes very dissonant, na, oh sorry, voice crack, and then which is then resolved into the intro one step higher than the original key. That's why it makes it epic. Okay, so let's listen to this entire thing again. Here we go. Great. Okay. So we are just about to be done. So let's review everything we've talked about in this panel. So we first talked about how Jena Rebellion Salvation's main beat is the 8th note, and there are 12 of them per measure. And they are kind of rhythmically grouped in 2 or 3. And so when they are grouped in 2, as you know, they provide 6 pulses. And when they're grouped in 3, they provide 4 pulses. Of course, the composer uses this character to create 2 sets of groove, and when they clash or syncopate, it becomes a very powerful tool that helps the piece groove. So let's now see this one last time as a whole, right? I'm going to show you the entire video. Try to remember everything that we've talked about. And then I have a little epilogue for some of you who are not satisfied with this. Okay, so let's do this. Ready? Yeah, it comes out really often, right? Yeah, in a lot of videos, a lot of cutscenes, yeah. And then movies, trailers too. Yeah. Okay, great. As an epilogue, I wanted to kind of stimulate your thoughts a little bit by going a little bit into university level, especially for who are those already trained in music. I want us to think about this rhythm in particular, which we saw at the beginning. This rhythm, if you've been classically trained like I have, you'll probably recognize this pattern from somewhere. And this rhythmic pattern is not new at all. This rhythmic pattern comes from a drumming tradition in Ghana. If you know this name, Steve Reich, I'm sure you've come across it multiple times. This rhythm is actually the same bell pattern as a drum cadence called Agbadza, played by the Iwe people in Ghana. And it kind of goes like this. Dun, 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 which is the same thing as the string line, dun, 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 but slower. I'm going to play for you an excerpt of a group performing few traditional songs in Agbadza. This group is called the, oh sorry if I do not want to botch this pronunciation, Afia Denigba Gadzo Troop. There we go. And Gadzo is a special war dance of Iwe people based on southern Ghana. And when you kind of listen to it, you'll realize the bell rhythms are very similar to the string rhythms that we heard in the game. So let's listen to it. Okay, but now why would I bring this up? Why am I linking the similarity between two completely different traditions? For me to say that Jena Rebellion and Salvation is a direct inspiration from Agbadza songs would be horribly wrong, right? And of course, I'd be advocating a string of cultural appropriation issues. But what I want to give you insight here is that we can perceive rhythms in multiple ways, and that is completely fine. Here's an example. Let's take the same Agbadza bell patterns, which different ethnomusicologists have transcribed. This version we saw previously is written by David Locke in the book Thoughts in Play, published by Oxford in 2019. But when we take another example, such as one by Jeff Pressing, published in the journal African Music 36 years earlier, you can kind of see the difference in how the two musicologists have perceived this rhythm. Locke is kind of more geared towards the idea of two by employing a bunch of quarter notes, dun, 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 dun. And Pressing is geared towards in groupings of three, right, by this time signature 12/8 here. What I want to say that it's really ultimately up to your choice whether or not to perceive this rhythm in 3 or 2, and that will inform the appropriate time signature. Of course, this is applicable to yourself when you create scores through transcriptions if you're a musician yourself to make your own covers. And composers like Steve Reich, who studied this Iwe music in Ghana in particular, also based his piece called Drumming off of 12 beats to reflect this polyrhythmic kind of potential. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your continued attention. Thank you. I know there was a lot of stuff, but I hope that this was educational for you as much as it was very fun to drum together. Do you have any questions for me about this piece in general or about anything other? Yes, you had a question? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
You're going to a conference where people pay attention to the music.
Right.
So, and one thing that struck me about the piece was that it takes a serious left turn.
Yes.
Halfway through, while you're in combat.
Yes.
Like, why? And like, how does that work for the composer and the player to like make such a radical change when you're in the middle of like trying to concentrate, trying to just play the game?
Yes.
Behind you, everything changes.
Yes, okay. So let me summarize this question here. It's a very difficult question to summarize. No, it's okay. Thank you. Thank you for asking. This is a more of an aesthetic question of aesthetics. The question was, so in the middle of the piece, this piece kind of turns dramatically in style. And as a game composer, you are supposed to not distract the players away from the gameplay, but for the music itself. And so, what is my stance on that, and why do these composers do that? That was your question, right? Okay, yeah. So I guess for me, this question kind of depends of the gameplay itself. I don't think in this case the gameplay, the music hinders the gameplay. Actually, because the gameplay is a hack and slash game, especially for the beginning, as you mentioned, it kind of, if you can synchronize the timings well, I think it has the potential to really really make it exciting for the gamer to play this game and to actually be in the action of lining up the perfect punches and stuff like that in rhythm. In terms of when it changes to dramatic pulses, it then kind of clicks the gamer kind of away for a millisecond and pays attention to the music a little bit. And I think this kind of has to do with the significance of the player or the boss that the player is fighting. I think it really comes down to that. In that this one, especially with how the character of Jena is portrayed as an antagonist here, but is actually not an antagonist if you think about it. The real antagonist here is is Yosef, who the player will eventually fight as the final boss. And of course there's a little twist to that. And of course I think that section kind of reflects more on how Jena as a player kind of evolved in the astral plane. You kind of think of Jena locking inside the astral plane dimension, not being able to come back to Earth for 20 years, and that 20 years would have been extremely somewhat with a lot of solace and with a lot of alone time, and so I think the music kind of Igarashi kind of wanted to reflect that a little bit, and so the music is a little bit sad, right? It's all in minor, although it's very exciting. And yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question. So my answer to your question is that I don't think it has to do with the fact that the gameplay, of course there are certain elements where gameplay is more important. I think here what Igarashi wanted to tell us is the story that's behind the gameplay here. And I think that's why, especially for boss themes, and especially for this one, you have this dual character of Jena who wants to fight the player, but also is very misaligned in terms of the Jena kind of thinks the player is a little bit misaligned, and so there's a bit of a sadness to it. Yeah. Yes. Does that answer your question? Yes, okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. It's a great question, and it's an aesthetical question that we need to ask ourselves why. Any other questions that any of you had about the panel? No? Everyone understood everything perfectly? Oh yeah? That's good. Okay, great. Thank you everyone for coming so early in the morning.